Nice launch trajectory and countdown net. Pad is clear.
10, 9, 8.
Launch auto sequence
7,
has started.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go for launch.
Vehicle is supersonic. Stage separation confirmed. Dragon, separation confirmed. Stage 1 is transonic. Landing legs have deployed. And Falcon 9 has landed.
T-minus 15. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lift off. Go space. Go Astra 1P. Okay, so mission down next.
Successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40, carrying the Astra 1P satellite. After clearing the tower, we tilted or gimbaled the engines to initiate a rollback.
Power and telemetry nominal.
And you may notice that in the Stage 1 camera view, this enables the vehicle's antennas to stay in the best position for communicating with the ground. In just a few seconds, we're going to be throttling down the engines in preparation for max Q, which stands for the maximum maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
And there we heard that call out. As Falcon 9 accelerates through the thicker lower atmosphere, that air density decreases. Falcon 9 passes max Q once the air density lowers faster than the increasing speed of the vehicle. You can keep your eye on the Stage 1 telemetry there in the bottom left-hand side of your screen, and keep an eye on those speed changes through ascent. Now, the rocket typically needs to go 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and therefore get into orbit. In about 30 seconds, we're going to have 3 events coming up that will happen all in succession quite quickly, starting with main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation and second engine start 1, or SES-1, not to be confused with today's customer, SES. As the name suggests, main engine cutoff is where we shut down all 9 M1D engines on the first stage. Beautiful views coming from the Stage 1 booster. Coming up on MECO now.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
And there you heard and saw those events happening back to back. The next event we have coming up is fairing separation. We will be attempting to retrieve these fairing halves once again as they fall back to Earth, and we will do so with our recovery vessel, Bob. As a reminder, Astra 1P, our payload today, is a wide-beam broadcasting satellite with 80 Ku band transponders for broadcasters and content owners across large TV markets in Germany, Spain, and France.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there we just heard confirmation of that fairing separation, and perhaps you caught a peek of it as well. Actually, you can see one of those fairing halves falling away in the background behind the MVAC engine there on the right-hand side of your screen.
Nominal trajectory.
Now the next event we have coming up around T plus 6.5 minutes will be the first stage entry burn. That will be conducted by the booster, which is the left-hand side view on your screen. And that will be the first of 2 burns that the first stage will perform in order to land back on Earth. You can see the first stage is actually still very slowly, but a little bit gaining slight altitude. Looks like it might be peaking right now. The first stage continues to do so for several moments after stage separation, and we can see there now that it is beginning to, it has reached its apogee and will begin to see the altitude decrease, meaning it was beginning its return back to Earth. Everything continues to look nominal for the second stage on the right-hand side of your screen. A gorgeous daylight view of planet Earth behind that MVAC engine. To start the entry burn, we will relight 3 M1D engines, which is similar to pumping the brakes in order to slow the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. The entry burn actually helps to reduce the heat generated from the friction of the atmosphere itself and reduces the aerodynamic forces that are acting on Falcon, which in turn helps maintain controlled flight and prepare for the landing burn. Less than a minute until that entry burn. During that entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing its Merlin engines, as I said, but still obviously moving very fast. This causes the vehicle to fly through the exhaust gas of the Merlin engines, and that deposits a layer of soot on the vehicle's surface. That soot comes from the carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses, and with each flight, the soot builds up a little bit more on the outside of the vehicle. That's why some of the reused boosters have a little bit more color on them than the newer ones that are still have a...
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
Then the newer
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there we can see on the left-hand side of your screen that entry burn has begun. We can see that speed really decelerating now on the left-hand, in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Again, this is the first stage and is the first of 2 burns that it will execute in this landing maneuver.
Entry burn shut down.
There we can see and heard that entry burn has concluded, and we can see how those grid fins help steer the vehicle for a precise landing. Once again, we are targeting our drone ship, which is currently parked in the Atlantic Ocean. And the drone ship we're using today is Just Read the Instructions. Less than a minute for landing of the first stage booster. Everything continues to look great for the second stage, carrying the Astra 1P satellite. Right around the same time that we're performing that landing burn on the first stage, that call out tells us that the first stage is traveling near the speed of sound. Now, right around the same time as the landing burn, we're going to hear a call out for MVAC shutdown or SECO, second engine cutoff 1.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
Now, it looks like we have a pretty clear view of the targeted landing area, so if you look closely, you might be able to see our drone ship come into view.
Stage 1 landing burn.
There we can see the drone ship in picture. Landing burn initiated.
MVAC shut down.
Landing leg deployed. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
An incredible view from 2 different angles. As you can see, Falcon 9 has landed once again, marking our 320th successful landing of an orbital class rocket, including first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. It's also the 250th time that we've recovered a booster on a drone ship. Pretty cool. Now, while all of that excitement was happening, we also had great news on the second stage. We heard confirmation of SECO 1, and we also heard confirmation of good orbit. So that tells us that we've got nominal orbital insertion. At this point, we're going to go into a coast phase, and it will last about 18 minutes. When we return, we'll have a handful of events happening, starting with second engine start 2 and second engine cutoff 2. And those events will be followed by a 7-minute coast. And finally, payload deploy around T plus 35 minutes, just before T plus 35 minutes, in fact. So stick around and enjoy some space tunes in the meanwhile.
sat there, 25th century AD. We sat there and looked at the rockets from Mars, and you just boggled the mind and mind and mind and mind. And the technology caught up, didn't it?
Welcome back. For those that have just recently joined, we had an on-time liftoff of 5:35 p.m. Eastern Time from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and it's followed by a successful stage separation about 2.5 minutes into launch. As you can see, the second engine has reignited for its second ignition, or SES-2, second engine start 2. You can see that the speed is once again increasing, as well as the altitude, following along with the stage 2 telemetry GUI on the bottom right hand side of your screen. This will last another few seconds. This was just a short 1-minute burn of the MVAC engine. Standing by for SECO 2, second engine cutoff 2.
Good orbit insertion.
All right. As you can see on your screen, we did have successful cutoff of that MVAC engine, and we also heard the call out there for a good orbit. Right now, we are going to await the final milestone for today's mission, of course, spacecraft separation. We're going to go into another short 7-minute coast, and for now, we will see you back here at T+34 minutes for deployment of Astra 1P. Welcome back. We're T+34 minutes and 4 seconds into today's mission. Just before going into the coast phase, we had a successful second engine cutoff 2 around 27.5 minutes into flight, and mission control confirmed good orbital insertion shortly after that. Right now, we are awaiting the final milestone for today's mission, spacecraft integration. As you can see, we have a partial view currently, but we hope to be able to see through and have visual confirmation of Astra 1P separation, but we'll definitely hear it called out on the nets. As a reminder, Astra 1P is a telecommunications satellite that will strengthen SES's TV coverage across Germany, Spain, and France.
SES-24 deploy confirmed.
All right. We saw slight visual confirmation, but definitely heard that call on the nets, telling us that we had a successful deployment of Astra 1P. All of us here at SpaceX would like to thank our customer SES for entrusting us with today's mission. We'd also like to thank the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for their support. If you're interested in more launch coverage, be sure to check spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information. And before we go, as many of you know, June is Pride Month and is a time to recognize, honor, and celebrate the contributions of those within the LGBTQ+ community. And yesterday was Juneteenth, a powerful day in American history that marks the emancipation of enslaved people in the United States. SpaceX celebrates both Pride and Juneteenth with our employees and our community. We'd like to wish everyone a happy Pride Month and a belated Juneteenth. That will conclude our webcast coverage of the Astra 1P mission. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next time.